line.
Good, better change the minute, better change the subject. Thank you very much, Council, for being with us this first day of October. Staff, thank you very much. Kendra, Amanda, Denise, Coral, Gavin, we're pleased that you're here. I must mention too that it's nice to have in the gallery Middlesex HR. Jessica, thanks for being here. These meetings are provided for the convenience only and can be found on your YouTube channel. Any failure of the audio visual does not change the product of council. Before we begin this meeting, it's very appropriate, the day following Truth and Reconciliation, that we give a land acknowledgement. We'll begin this gathering by acknowledging that the land upon which we meet is the traditional territory of First Nations people, who have a long-standing relationship with the land, the water, and regions of Southwest Middlesex. The nations along the banks of the Thames River include the Chippewa of the Thames, Oneida Nation of the Thames, Munsee Delaware Nation, and Delaware Nation of Moraviantown. We convey our respect to our Indigenous neighbors and thank them for their contributions to our culture, community, our past, and partnerships in the future. We acknowledge that this is the beginning of a process, and we commit to a continued journey of listening, learning, and building relationships. We thank all citizens who took the time on September 30th to observe the National Day for Truth and Reconciliation. This is an important step in the reconciliation process. Yesterday provided an opportunity to recognize and commemorate the tragic history and ongoing legacy of residential schools, and to honor survivors, their families, and their communities. We'll call the meeting to order at 1:32. Council, is there any disclosure of pecuniary interest or the general nature thereof? None have been filed, so we'll move on to confirmation of the agenda. It has been circulated. I'm sure you've had time to read it. If there's no errors or additions, the chair will entertain a motion to accept it as presented. Councilor McGill, seconder for that, please. Councilor Myers, all in favor? Carried. The confirmation agenda is, we have delegated that. We have got that. Delegations and presentations. We are pleased to have Doug Raycraft with us today to talk about the Community School Alliance. There's not a chair around the horseshoe that Doug has not served at one time or another, and we're pleased he's here. Doug, would you like to take that desk position? And Denise will make sure you're wired up there.
Good afternoon, and Mr. Mayor, members of council, and staff. Thank you, first of all, for the opportunity to speak to council this afternoon. I want to deliver a couple of thank yous this afternoon. First of all, to council for its unanimous support of a resolution September the 3rd, directing staff to renew the Administrative Services Agreement Southwest Middlesex has had with the Community Schools Alliance for a few years now. We have enjoyed, appreciated the work of Barbara Pinnell in keeping minutes of our meetings and sending out notices and calendar invitations and all that sort of thing. And her contribution to the operation of the Community Schools Alliance is indispensable. I'm looking forward to discussing a proposed new agreement with the Alliance that I've been told to expect to receive at some point in time. I'm quite confident that we can come to a new agreement that's mutually acceptable to council and to the Alliance at the same time. I'd like to go on to just give a very brief description of the history of the Community Schools Alliance. It It was actually born in 2008 when Middlesex County Council directed then CAO Bill Rayburn to work with me and a number of other municipal leaders from various parts of the province to develop an organization that could serve as an advocate for municipalities in dealing with school boards and specifically with school closures. That bill did follow up on that direction, and in 2009 at the AMO conference, which I think was in Ottawa that year, a founding meeting was held. I well recall the room. It was standing room only. The response from the municipal community to the proposal for a new advocacy organization was overwhelming. And there were reasons for that. First of all, there had been a virtual avalanche of school closures across the province. 3 of them that I can remember in Middlesex County. I'm sure Councillor McCollum will recall one of those when Thames Valley District School Board proceeded to close Caradoc South in Melbourne. In that same year, they closed Prince Andrew in Middlesex Centre and Metcalfe Central. All 3 schools were closed over the very strenuous objections of their municipal councils. Those closures continued from 2009 on. The Community Schools Alliance met with every single Minister of Education since that time to advocate for a moratorium on school closures. There had been a moratorium in the early 2000s following a change of government in 2003. It's interesting that had that change in government not occurred and a moratorium established by then Minister of Education Gerard Kennedy, the high school here in Glencoe would have been closed. The school board had voted to close it, but the direction from the minister in 2003 was to stay that closure. And it, of course, as you know, remains open to this day. But there was a need for another moratorium because of the number of closures that were occurring. Between 2011 and 2017, 400 schools, 400 across the province were closed. And that was despite the fact that every time there was an opportunity to address the issues at a minister's forum, at a municipal conference, or to have a delegation in front of the Minister of Education, we continue to seek that moratorium. And finally, in 2017, the moratorium was announced by then Education Minister Mitzi Hunter. So the closures stopped. And that's 8 years ago. Since then, there have been no school closures in the province. The advocacy, though, has continued during that time. There are a number of things I would point to. At the same time as the moratorium on closures was announced, the minister announced a consultation and a review of something called the Pupil Accommodation Review Guideline. That's a provincial guideline with the Minister of Education that school boards have to follow when they establish their own pupil accommodation review policy. And they have to follow that policy if they choose to close a school. So the Community Schools Alliance was very heavily involved in that consultation to produce a new accommodation review guideline, which surfaced in 2018, the following year. So once the new guideline was in place, the Community Schools Alliance moved on to enter into a contract with a group at Western University to conduct some research for us, specifically looking at 733 small communities across the province, communities that had a population of more than 300 and less than 10,000. So of course, this community would have been part of what was considered. And what they did with that research was to compare schools communities that had schools to communities that didn't. And the very strong observation that came out of that research was that communities with schools had more private amenities and public services than communities that did not have the schools. The extension of that is that if you close the only school in a community, then some of those amenities and public services will gradually move out of those communities. So that research was released in 2022. In 2023, an even larger body of research was done by a group based at Queen's University in Kingston. And they took a look at the closures that had occurred between 2000, I remember the exact year, 2010 and 2017, I believe it was. And Dr. Patricia Collins was the head of that research. One of the observations that came out of that was that small communities had been disproportionately affected by school closures across the province. It was more likely that a school closure would occur in a small community than it would in a larger one. And there's a lot of research has been, a lot of papers have been produced as a result of that research done by the Queen's University group. So no closures since the moratorium was announced in 2017, but again this year, the issue of school closures has resurfaced. It comes as a result of discussions around 5 school boards who, because of their inability to balance their budgets, have been replaced. The boards have been replaced by a supervisor appointed by the Minister of Education. Thames Valley is one of those boards. So there is no school board in operation here at the present time. Instead, the functions of the school board are now in the hands of a supervisor who's been appointed by the province, and that's been the case since last spring. Recently, Premier Ford quoted that in attempting to balance the budgets of those boards, they might have to look at closing some underutilized schools. There are, I think, in the Thames Valley Board, a number of schools that are underutilized by the minister's definition. The 2 most underutilized secondary schools in all of Thames Valley, so that's London, Oxford County, Elgin County, and Middlesex, are North Middlesex District High School in Park Hill and Glencoe District High School, where the utilization rate is well under 60% that the province would like to see. So if there is going to be a closure, we really don't know how to anticipate the process that's going to be used to do that. There is a pupil accommodation review guideline in place, but it's never been exercised because it was announced after the moratorium was put in place in 2017. The new part was announced in 2018. And we don't know if the supervisor decides that he wants to see a closure, if they'll follow that guideline or not. The supervisor has all kinds of powers that probably the school board didn't have. So he could conceivably make a unilateral decision to close it. So I think it was Thomas Jefferson who was quoted as saying that eternal vigilance is the price of liberty. I think eternal vigilance is also going to be the price of keeping our rural and northern schools open across this province. So we need to anticipate that there may be an attempt to lift the moratorium. The Public School Boards Association has been arguing strenuously that for that for another number of years. And this new issue with the 5 school boards now being replaced by supervisors, I think makes that a stronger possibility.
Doug, if you could wrap up, we certainly want to take time for some questions.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'm just about to do that. In closing, I want to thank Southwest Middlesex for being one of the original members of the Community Schools Alliance and continuing to that membership. And as I said earlier in my comments, for allowing Barbara Canal to provide the administrative support we need to operate. So if there are questions, Mr. Mayor, I'd be happy to attempt to answer them.
Thank you very much for that background, Doug. It's well appreciated. Council, the invitation for questions, you can ask the questions to the chair. Are there any? Yes, Councilor McGill.
Yeah, thank you, Mayor Mayhew. How do we convince people in the community to use Glencoe High School? Because as I see it, well, my 3 kids all went there. They all got a really good education and got into good programs and good universities. And yet, so many people send their children elsewhere. The only good reason I can think of to go elsewhere is because we don't have French immersion here in the Glencoe area. And for example, you just can't get a job with the federal government unless you're bilingual anymore. So that would be a reason for going somewhere else. So I think it would be a viable school. It might be even over that 60% threshold if everybody used it.
Well, there's no doubt that that's true. As I indicated earlier, Glencoe is the second lowest utilization rate of all the school boards in Thames Valley District. And I think the trend to students to leave this area to attend elementary and secondary schools out of the area is a trend that's been in place for a considerable period of time. And the reality is, I think that it's safe to say that eventually the school is going to get closed by parents who choose to send their schools out of the area. That's a reality that I think we have to admit. So making parents aware of the fact that increasing the attendance at all of our elementary schools is something that we can choose to do. Our elementary schools, I don't think are any danger at the present time. The school board did attempt to close Moses Central a number of years ago, but that was averted, I guess, by a strong response from the community at that time, and a school board decision not to follow the staff's recommendation to close the school.
Any other questions from councilors? I guess the Doug is, if you don't use it, you'll lose it, basically is what it boils down to. Any further questions? Yes, Deputy Mayor Schuldice.
Thank you, Mayor Mayhew. I just want to thank Doug for his years of work on this on behalf of all of us. Thanks, Doug.
No, you've done it a long time. Yeah. All right. Any
Thank you again for the opportunity.
Last call? No more? Okay, well, Doug, thank you from the chair. And I'm sure our staff will accommodate you in terms of setting up some venues for conversation. And we'll look forward to staff's recommendation.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, we will. Yeah. Okay, the presentation is finished now. Motion to receive the delegation. Mover and second, please. McGill, Emery, all in favor? Carried. Okay, consent agenda, number 5. It's pretty easy. This meeting council draft minutes of Middlesex County Community Improvement Program and Middlesex County 2006 council meeting calendar. Are there any orders of business that you would like to extract from that council, or can we accept that as presented? Okay. Moved by Deputy Mayor Schuldice, seconded by Councilor Haggett. Questions? All in favor? Carried. Committee of Adjustment. I've been advised there's none. Public meetings, there are none. And staff reports, we've got a couple of interesting ones here. Chief Administrative Officer will deliver the service delivery review portion, A1 of our agenda. Amanda, thank you very much. You have the floor.
Thank you, through you, Mayor, to Council. This report is provided to Council for awareness and information. The municipal staff, we are launching a service delivery and service excellence initiative within our staff group to review how we deliver services and support staff. The goal is to ensure the efficient use of our people, systems, and resources while maintaining high-quality customer service. The review will identify opportunities to improve resident and business services, strengthen internal workflows and communication, set clear service standards on behalf of the municipality, and provide recommendations, if applicable, it's not guaranteed they will be, but for the 2026 budget. Staff input and data collection are currently underway, and the draft recommendations are intended to be presented to Council in November at the November 25th meeting, with final recommendations being presented in the 2026 budget in December, again, if applicable. At this time, this is just provided for information. The initiative is being completed internally with no new costs associated with the review, and any future recommendations would be brought back to Council for consideration. So happy to answer any questions or concerns.
Good, thank you. It's a process that I think is important to every municipality, and I'm pleased we're entering into that conversation. Council, any questions you'd like to recommend on the service delivery review? Yes, Deputy Mayor Schultz.
I'd just like to commend staff on this initiative, and I'll move the recommendation.
Okay, is there a seconder for that? Councilor Myers, any further questions? Yeah, I think the mayor will ask one question. It's kind of sensitive. The moral, I know that gathering leaves in the municipalities can be a very burdensome job for public works department. And we're very blessed to have that service. There's many municipalities that do not. And this year particularly, with all the rains that Telemaco has had, those trees look very embellished with the leaves up there. I think there's going to be a pile of them. This service delivery review, Amanda, would a subject like that I've just directed the moral come up?
Thank you, Mayor Mayhew, and through you to the rest of Council. Great question. The scope of the current service delivery review, and thank you because it's a good opportunity for clarification, is intended to be more our administrative services only. So we'll be reviewing our finance and kind of the in-office services we provide here. We will be engaging with our public works and community services team on setting customer service standards, so timelines for response call, that kind of thing. But when it comes to overall service levels, like the leaf collection program, as you know, Mayor, are set by Council themselves. So Council sets the kind of service delivery standards, and we ensure that through budget processes that standard continues to be met year over year. If Council did wish to review that service or others, we certainly could undertake that review at any time with a request from Council to do so. I hope that clarifies. It's an important clarification.
Thank you very much. No, I knew there were some concerns from the public on that, and it looks like it's keeping for a while anyway. Okay, any further questions? It's been moved and seconded. All in favor? Carried. Thank you, administration. And Amanda, you got some other clerk, I think. You might be heading to Kenya on the next one here. Alternative voting method, Kendra, this is electronic voting. If you could introduce the subject to council and then remind council that we have had this footprint of exercising democracy in the past couple of years. And Kendra, if you could expand on 821, please.
Yep, so this report recommends continuing with internet and telephone voting for the 2026 election. We've used this method in the past, and we have also used IntelliVote specifically for the e-voting software. So essentially it's the same as the last election cycle is what I am looking for from you. There is joint procurement to help ensure consistency across the county. So the total election costs will be brought forward as part of the 26 budget, as well as through reserves that are already there. And approving the bylaw now allows staff to move forward, planning ahead for my absence, as well as the legislative May 1st, 2026 deadline to declare how you're voting in the election. 3 or 4 other lower tier municipalities within the county have already passed this bylaw, and I'm open to any other questions.
Thank you. Any questions, council? I had a chance to chat with Amanda on this just prior to the meeting. And we do know that there are individuals who are not connected digitally. So the staff will go to great lengths of assisting those people coming to the municipal hall and assist them for those who are not connected or have a lack of digital experience, that they will not be left behind. And I think that's extremely important. Is there any other concerns in that regard from council? It has been chatted about and it will be addressed as well. Okay. There, the recommendation, last call for questions. Being none, the recommendation is before you, council. What's your wish? Got moved by Myers, second by Scholdice. All in favor? Carried. Thank you very much, Ken. And thank you, staff, for that expectation of personal service to those who need it. Okay. 8.2, council and committee meeting schedules. It has been circulated, and the recommendation is that we adopt those councils. Thank you very much for that. I printed off a couple of pages of that and put it in my binder. It's nice to have. It covers the committees as well. Council, I'll let staff take that as can give that report to council at this current time. Amanda, are you giving that, or is Kendra giving that to you? Kendra, go ahead with that report.
Yeah, so this report just presents the proposed 2026 council and committee schedule. It includes adjustments for holidays, budget discussions, and special meetings, as well as the inaugural meeting is tentatively scheduled for November 18th, 2026. All meetings will continue to be live streamed, supporting public engagement and providing flexibility to both council, committees, and residents. And I'm open to any other questions.
Are there any, council? Good. It's nice to have that in advance. The chair will entertain a mover in a second. Councilor Myers. Hagan. All in favor? Carried. Thank you, Kendra, again. Finance, Denise, at this time, there's none. Public Works, Morrow, there's none at this time. Community Services and Facilities, I enjoyed reading that report. Kevin, would you like to speak to that?
Sure, yeah, through you, Mayor, before you guys is a update, and I guess it's all for information, updating the successful 2025 season so far that Community Services have had. There's some highlights in there, and I'm open to any questions you may have.
Council, invitation's been extended for questions. Are there any? Deputy Mayor Shoulders.
Thank you, Mayor Mayhew, to Kevin. Is there any more upgrades at the park in Middlesex for this year?
Good question. There wasn't anything budgeted for this year. We do have I guess it's pergola that still needs to be set up, but as of now, we can look forward to the 2026 budget, and that's something we can look into putting stuff into.
There was actually a pergola that dropped my memory. Do you know when we'll be putting that in?
I can talk to staff and we can figure it out. Yeah, absolutely.
Perfect. Okay, thank you.
Okay, that's good. Yeah. Okay, any more questions? Kevin, it's very well received, and thank you for that. Do you have a mover and a second for that? Okay, mover and a seconder for that. Take these glasses off, I don't see. Yeah, Councilor Myers, Councilor Hagan, all in favor. Carried. Thank you very much again, Kevin. Glasses. No, they're just Google glasses with about 3 levels of magnification. I can see really well about 3 feet in front of me, and after that, it's blur. Yeah. No, they're the $10 ones. Okay, we have got, council, got that. Finance, we have that. Fire, none at this time. Building services, none. Planning, none, but, fasten your seatbelt, there'll be some coming. Down the road, no notices of motion have been, submitted. Correspondence and petitions, there is none. Council, no unfinished business from the consent agenda, thank you for that. New business items, none. County and council updates, none. And we're clicking right along here, 14 announcements, council, are there any? Seeing none? Well, I do have one. I'm delighted to say that our CAO Amanda is celebrating a birthday. And I think we should wish her happy birthday on that. Yeah, and quite honestly, the mayor does know her age. But I've been advised that I cannot divulge that to council unless we go into committee of the whole. So Amanda, on behalf of the mayor and others, I present you with that and wish you a very happy birthday.
Thank you.
Okay, you're most welcome. We're also glad to have you. Okay, any further announcements? Seeing none, we will move on then. What do we got here? Closed session. There are some subject to conversation that council must enter into closed session for, pursuant to section 239 of the Municipal Act. The regular count, there is a recommendation that we go into closed meeting of Southwest Middlesex be temporarily adjourned at 2:02 p.m. to prevent the holding of a meeting in closed session for the purposes of draft closed minute meetings, closed items, labor relations or employee negotiations, closed item of proposed or pending acquisition and disposition of land by the municipality, and last being a position, plan, procedure, criteria, or instruction to be applied to any negotiations carried on behalf or on by the municipality or a local board. Is there a mover and a seconder for that, council? Councilor Haggett? Councilor Emery? All in favor? Motion is carried. We'll give staff time to get us